The Empty Room by Wanderer D. Chapter 14. The Griffin burst through the clouds in a frantic dive, trying to lose her pursuer, but it was not to be. Her nemesis emerged less than a second afterward and was catching up quickly. Not the outbeat done, she banked to the right, to proceed to gain altitude at an angle, aiming yet for another cloud. But this time, she was not going to try to avoid her pursuer. Gilda landed on a cloud after dropping out of her enemy's sight, and prepared to pounce. When she felt her opponent was close, she threw herself at the Pegasus, claws extending, roar leaving her beak. She took a swipe, but the pony dodged, sending a hoof right to her stomach. Oof! She tried to roll with the punch, but the Pegasus was relentless. She pounced, and the mare jumped over her, kicked her out with her hind legs, and she sailed fast under her. She snapped her beak, as dangerous as a weapon as her claws, but the pony's hoof met her chin, snapping it closed. When she hadn't even recuperated from that, when the pony twisted in the air, kicked her side, sending her sprawling into the cloud, was left her aloft by a sheer miracle. She spit out a bit of blood and glared at the pony as she landed a few feet away from her. Gilda locked eyes with her. Golden eyes met amber yellow for a second. Then the mare's left eye started looking up and back, while the other eye stayed firmly in place. Unable to hold the stare any longer, Gilda relented. Fine! Give me the stupid letter! The gray Pegasus with bubbles for a cutie mark smiled and gave her an envelope. She nodded and turned to leave. Wait! Gilda said suddenly, still holding the letter in one claw, clutching the ribs. What? How did you learn to fight like that? The gray Pegasus looked at her, maybe, over her shoulder. Nothing. Phil. Well, thank you, Dizzy. That was your prerequisite cameo in this fic. Here you go. Here's a muffin. Thank you. Nightmare Flare stood in front of the room, looking at the preserved objects which caused her so much grief, and it remained intact to the explosion that had destroyed the wall and killed Twilight, and through her transformation the revival of her student. Sister, Nightmare Moon nodded towards the Queen as she approached. She is not here, Nightmare Flare said, still looking into the empty room. I have gathered all the mares of the appropriate age and tested them with my magic. If any one of them had been an alicorn in hiding, that spell would have revealed them. Nightmare Moon was silent, as she also gazed at the room that started it all. Perhaps the secret is still in this room. Nightmare Flare glanced at her sister. Perhaps. Have you asked Twilight to take a look at it again? She was so close to a breakthrough before she was attacked. I have called for her, yes, Nightmare Flare said, eyes still on her sister. And that is another part of this mystery that needs to be solved. Who attacked her, and why? Nightmare Moon was silent as she returned her sister's gaze. Whoever it was took advantage of your emotional state, sister. Nightmare Flare turned away. I know. She looked at the destroyed wall. Did I tell you we caught a rebel during one of my scans? I heard, yes. She will be executed, Nightmare Flare said, along with any other rebels we catch. But I have sent for her family to be rounded up, too. Nightmare Moon remained studiously calm. According to her, there are definitely other rebels, and they are organized. There is a chance that they were the ones that attacked Twilight Sparkle in the first place, the White Alicorn said. Are you going to interrogate her? Of course. That is why I sent for her family to be brought before us. Normally, I would have entrusted the interrogation to Twilight, but I must ask you to do it for me, sister. Twilight needs to unravel the spells in the room and help me find my filly. If they are indeed responsible for all that has happened, these rebels have a lot to answer for, my sister, Nightmare Moon said, with tone vicious. Flare smiled, reflecting her sister's voice. I trust that you will extract all the information from her. Nightmare Moon was already walking towards the dungeon. If they are responsible for hurting you, my sister, this rebel will regret ever being born. Nightmare Flare smirked. Just don't kill her. I changed her execution to tonight, so don't roughen her up too much. And don't tell her. Nightmare Moon nodded. Spike. The little dragon stared at the table. Gems and rocks were gone as his mind processed what he had been told. He couldn't believe it. Even with Midnight's warnings, even what he had seen in the courtyard, there was no way his friends could be gone. It was impossible, wasn't it? Alzak had tears in her eyes and suddenly felt himself in a hug as the farmer held him, crying. It turned to Twilight, who held his gaze. Twilight? They attacked the Queen, Spike, the purple unicorn said. That is high treason. The little dragon didn't know what to say. He could feel inside of him as his entire self was crumbling to little pieces. But why? The dragon wailed. No more parties with Pinkie Pie. No more taking care of little animals with Fluttershy. Tears streamed down the little dragon's face. I'm afraid so. Twilight Spark nodded. And Twilight, I never got my chance to tell Rarity how I felt. I'll never be able to tell her I love her, or how inspiring she is, or how she was always a visit of beauty in an otherwise gloomy world. I mean, sure, the world's more gloomy now, with the eclipse and all, but that flank! I'll never get to see that flank again! He broke down crying. Twilight blinked. Really? You had a crush on Rarity? Oh, come on, Twilight! The whole pony that didn't seem to know it was Rarity. Applejack looked at the panic dragon with pity. Jade hit her chest with a huff, as if something stuck her throat. But how did Rainbow Dash... Applejack... Rainbow Dash saw the error of her ways, Twilight said. Spitfire convinced her that it wasn't worth it to try to debunk our beloved queens. And Applejack... Well, that thought probably hasn't crossed her mind, but the only reason she's still alive is because I love her. Spike saw the farmer tense. It's better to die on your hose than live on your knees at the mercy and whim of a twisted pony like you and your queens! Applejack sighed, pushing Spike back. Oh, AJ, you say the sweetest things. Twilight giggled as the fuming earth pony approached her, murder in her eyes. And you're so silly. It's a well-established fact that it's better to live on your hooves than die on your knees, which is what would have happened to you. Twilight Sparkle! Spark. Shut up! I don't care. Your name doesn't matter. Did you even think about what I said to you earlier about who you were and what you are now? I did, and I like who I am now. The unicorn smirked as the earth pony moved close to their snouts were almost touching. If you claim that you clearly didn't do it enough, I give up on your Spark. The real Twilight is dead. Twilight stared at Twilight's forelegs and circled Prize Applejack's neck, pulling herself closer as she kissed her, tongue and all. It was all too much. Confusion and shock hurt from earlier, combined with a sudden turn of events, overwhelmed the baby dragon. He fainted with a whimper. Earth Pony, for her part, seemed to be frozen. She struggled faintly, pushing back at the unicorn, but apparently without sufficient strength. The Twilight's right hoof slowly traced the line from Applejack's neck, down her spine to her flank, where she slowly rubbed the farm girl's cutie mark. The door opened. Lady Twilight, a guard coughed. Your Highness, Queen Flare, want you to see your presence immediately. Twilight slowly pulled back from Applejack and stepped back. The farmer, who seemed to be leaning forward, slowly melted into the floor, where she stared at a daze at the unicorn. The Queen has the worst timing possible. The unicorn pouted. Then she perked up. Oh well, don't worry, AJ. We'll continue later. She lay down and playfully kissed the Earth Pony's forehead before turning around and walking out the room. Coming, Spike? The dragon groaned as he looked up. Sorry, Twilight. He stumbled out the door, not really paying attention to where he was going. Elzak, for her part, didn't seem to register the fact that the unicorn and the dragon were gone. She sat on the floor, completely spaced out. A cool hoof on her shoulder snapped out of it. She started sputtering and shaking her head. Through teary eyes, she looked up at the masked face of Silent Jade. The azure eyes betrayed a smile hidden under the mask. Now, Lord! Elzak said, still unable to push herself up. And don't you laugh! She added, when the assassin turned around and brought a hoof to her mouth. Her body shook with mirth. The door swung open again, and both Applejack and Jade looked up in surprise. Jade, Night Moon said, I need your help in the dungeon. My sister caught a prisoner that might know how all of this got started. She looked around. Where's Rainbow Dash? The traitor is gone. Applejack says he stood up, slowly, trying to put the recent experience in the back of her mind. If I'm lucky, I'm never laying eyes on that Pegasus again. That Ramona observed the earth plane carefully for a few seconds. Be careful what you wish for. She turned to look at Jade. She's coming with us. We might be able to get something out positive out of all this. Jade nodded, looked at Applejack, who looked back at her to Nightmare Moon. Fine. It's not like I have much of a choice. Trixie hovered decisively at the back of the cavern. She sighed when she noticed Big Macintosh was not around. She walked back into the cave, where she found Midnight gazing at it. Found anything interesting? Tiny's father jumped. Trixie! He said weakly. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Hover in. The mayor sighed and sat down. It's a key. Midnight nodded, looked back at it. I have a theory. With your help, we might be able to find out what it does and harness its power. Trixie tried to look excited, but he also told from her encounter with family still hung over her. Hey! Guys! Soren shouted running into the cave. I just heard from Misty. Lyra was captured. She's going to be executed, and I haven't heard from Spike in several hours. Great! Trixie muttered. We just started, and already we're dropping like flies. At least it won't be as short as a ghost. Midnight remained impassive. We have to figure this out soon, then, he said, looking at it. I have to go back now, to keep a close eye on us Wonderbolts, Soren said, and I'll try to come back a little later. Good. We don't want to lose anybody else. The Wonderbolt nodded and hurried out. I should go and find Big Macintosh, Trixie said, jumping to her feet. No! Midnight looked at her with steely eyes. Don't you dare. If something had happened to him, Soren would have heard about it, and I need you here. If my theory is correct, we'll be able to strike a guardian a decisive blow. Trixie's eyes went to the door and back to the unicorn. Finally, she sighed. Fine. Big Macintosh stood out amongst the crowd in front of the castle. He had heard about Lyra, but for all he could think about, there was nothing he could really do about it now. Wild plans flew through his head. Could he disrupt the execution without getting them both killed? Maybe he could sneak into the castle tonight. Her Majesty, Queen Nightmare Flare wishes to announce that tomorrow's execution of the traitorous level Lyra will take place in 3 hours at Castle Plaza instead of tomorrow at dawn. Attendance is mandatory. Big Macintosh cursed in such a vile way that he actually done it aloud. He probably would have made several of the surrounding nobles faint and earned himself a very hard slap scolding from Granny Smith. He noticed the crowd moving and followed suit to led to a chariot with darkened windows, pulled by several guards, very slowly made its way through. Whispers spread throughout as every pony tried to figure out who was inside it. When the castle gates opened and Nightmare Moon herself stood, waiting to carry the crowd gasped. But Macintosh wasn't paying attention to the guys. His eyes were on the miserable-looking mayor with a Stetson hat, who looked around the crowd and then stared at him. Police Sliss, whatever you do, don't bite Mike! Elzak looked at her brother guiltily. I'm sorry, Big Mike. I truly am. She looked down as they walked side by side, with a deadly assassin and Nightmare Moon herself, followed by a small group of scared ponies. A colt, an elder mare, and a male and a mare. A family. There was something familiar about them, but neither of the apples could put a hoof on what it was. Big Mike sighed. He looked at his sister. She seemed really contrite about getting him dragged into this whole thing. But once he had shouted his name, and Nightmare Moon noted him, if he hadn't ran away, it would have been very conspicuous. At least his little sister seemed to be okay, and she did not look like a cultist. That's all right, he said finally. No, she said. He isn't. He has a strange way of chasing ponies. Let me Rainbow Dash into a murderer. A Twilight. Applejack shut up, looking at Nightmare Moon, who seemed to roll her eyes. The farmer blinked. No, she mustn't imagine it. They all proceeded down to the dungeons where they could hear a melody being played. Oh no, the elder mare from the group behind her whispered. It can't be. Not my Lyra. Lyra? Applejack looked at horror at the unicorn family. That's why they looked familiar. They turned desperately towards Nightmare Moon. You Can't be serious. Lyra wouldn't do anything like that. Oh, I am, Nightmare Moon said. I received a report of her exact indiscretions against us queens. Her involvement with the Rebel Alliance was reported by her lover, Bonbon herself. Then she proceeded to make a fool out of my sister in front of witnesses. What? Lyra's mother spoke again. The guards stared at her. Nightmare Moon shot an icy glare. I'm sorry, my queen, she said sheepishly. There must be a mistake. Bonbon is just Lyra's friend. They are not involved in any way other than that. Big Mac and Applejack traded looks. Jade shook her head. Nightmare Moon arched her eyebrow. Why, it seems that your daughter also concealed some secrets from you. The Dark Alicorn said finally. That's good.
What do you mean? She lied to us.
Lyra's father spoke up. It means that it's highly improbable that you three are even aware of the Rebel Alliance beyond what we have talked about now. Nightmare Moon interrupted. That means there's also less of a reason for you to be here, or to stay here. A guard pony stood silent visible next to the entrance to the dungeons. Nightmare Moon looked at the guards. I do not believe it is necessary for them to follow us in during the interrogation, she said, motioning at Lyra's family. Wait with them here. They will have a lot to talk about with Lyra in between now and her execution. Applejack gave Nightmare Moon a hard look, but held her tongue until the door to the dungeons closed behind them.
They're suffering enough already. Why did you bring that up again?
Alicorn snorted, not bothering to look back at them as she made her way down the spiraling stairs. They have time to argue about her daughter's sexual preferences instead of her well-being and independent fate. They need a reminder of what is important and what isn't. When they arrived at the bottom of the stairs, the music stopped. Lyra's cell was not facing the stairs, so she could not see who had arrived. But the sounds of hooves on stone apparently heralded her arrival. Nightmare Moon looked at the few interrogators in the room and narrowed eyes. I have my own specialist with me, she announced. I will only need one of you to remain.
You.
She pointed to seemingly random interrogator, who immediately knelt down.
At your service, my queen,
the dark fur earth pony said. Nightmare Moon nodded. Everybody else, leave us. After much mumbling, the rest of the interrogators left the room, and the group of 5 moved to stop in front of the cell. I will tell you nothing, Lyra said. Applejack's eyes wired. She had been roughened up. She had a split lip and several scratches. By the way she moved and put down her lyre, there were certainly bruises under her coat, if not worse. We shall see, Nightmare Moon said calmly. Smirking, Lyra looked up. Her eyes suddenly widened as she gasped. Oh no! Big Mac! They cut you too! The interrogator held his sword in his muzzle immediately, and Applejack had shoved in between him and her brother, who shot her an annoyed glance as he prepared himself for battle.
You know I can take care of myself, sis,
the draft pony muttered. I got no doubt, big brother, but I'll help out just in case. Wouldn't want another wound stopping you from bucking apples this year. They both knew they wouldn't stand a chance against Nightmare Moon, but they would not go without a fight.
Lyra, that mouth of yours is a magnet for trouble,
Lyra's Big Mac saying. I'm sorry, Big Mac, Lyra said, tears filling her eyes. Please don't kill Trixie. She'll kill me after I die. What's this about Trixie? Are we talking about the great and powerful Trixie? Applejack growled.
What's she got to do with all this?
She's Big Mac's undead Philly friend. Say, well,
it's complicated,
Big Mac snorted. It was then that the laughter stopped the conversation and made the interrogator lower his sword. Nightmare Moon was laughing. And for all that, Applejack could tell it was honest-to-goodness laughter. Not at all like the Melissa's cackling that the nightmare showered them in when they fired back at Everfree. Beside the alicorn, Jade's muscles clenched shut, even quivering her lips could be seen trembling under her mask. Nightmare Moon took a deep breath and shook her head. Oh, lower the sword, interrogator.
My queen.
He stared, but put away his sword, looking completely confused. It's unnecessary, Nightmare Moon said. Her draconic eyes settled on Big Mac. Are you part of the Rebel Alliance? The draft pony hesitated, but slowly nodded. Big Mac! Applejack gasped. Don't you know what Nightmare Moon and Nightmare Flare do to rebels? Tell me, you two. The dark Alcor pacing in front of the whole group. Why are you rebelling against me and my sister? Because you're not our queens, Lyra said. You've been corrupted, turned to monsters by... She stopped and looked at Big Mac. Nightmare Moon smirked. I see you know something. Tell me. Her voice became cold. Who is responsible for turning my sister into Nightmare Flare? The draft pony and the young unicorn looked unsure. Some pony took advantage of her fears and suffering, Nightmare Moon said, the answer of her voice drawing shivers from all ponies around her. They exploited the weakness in the finest way possible, and through that Nightmare Flare was born. She looked at the two rebels. My sister is trapped in a shell. She's fighting it and causing Nightmare Flare to make mistakes, but she won't last long. Who is responsible for this? Lyra looked down. You wouldn't believe us.
The Castle of Nightmares,
Big Mac said evenly. They introduced new members by giving them medallions with spells on them. Lyra said. They changed their memories to make them believe they were always part of the council. Applejack was stunned. Like, is that what happened to Rainbow Dash? Nightmare Moon's horn started glowing. Like as a surprise, the interrogator was floating in front of them. He tried to struggle, but was unable to break her hold on him. Slowly, a silver chain revealed as the Alcorn's magic pulled out a medallion. Like this one, you mean? We've never seen them, Lyra said, wide-eyed. But how did you... Nightmare Moon smirked. Rainbow Dash was breaking out of the hold of the medallion Spitfire gave her before I even talked to her. When she showed me the medallion, I felt something familiar about it. When I came down here to the dungeon, I felt a familiar energy coming from this pony. The chain with the medallion broke until it was floating in front of the group. But we were told that the only way to break the hold of the medallion was to death, Lyra said.
Fools! The interrogator spat, staring at all of them. You cannot stay the castle of the eclipse. Even in death will remain loyal.
Nightmare Moon smirked. Clearly you think too highly of yourselves. The elements of harmony are powerful enough to break your amulets. And so am I. Having said that, the Alcorn threw the amulet to the floor, and then with a powerful kick, smashed it into pieces. The cultist howled in spasm in Nightmare Moon's hold, struggling to free, until a desperate gasp he fell limp. The Alcorn's horn flashed, and the interrogator was gone. What happened to him? Do not worry yourself with his fate, Nightmare Moon said. We need to figure out what to do about you, she added, looking at Lyra. You mean you can't let me go free? Nightmare Moon sighed. I'm afraid not. My sister would answer immediately, and the consequences would be disastrous. Oh. Blake Mike, are you okay? Evelyn said, asked her brother, who stood staring at the place where the former cultists had been floating.
Do you reckon?
He started, throat dry.
What he said was true?
Applejack frowned. Well,
About their ball not breaking, even after death?
Lyra's eyebrows went up. You don't mean...
All right. I think I have it down right.
Midnight said after studying the runes. This is your moment to shine, Trixie. The depressed bear looked up at him. What do you mean? A physical being cannot access the power within, Midnight said, looking at standing next to the mare. But us ghosts, we can enter it. Trixie shook her head. So, you see, we could both go in there and harness his power. Midnight shook his head.
No. One of us will go in, and the other will stay behind as an anchor to direct the power.
Since I've been studying the runes and have more experience, I will be the anchor. You'll have to go in and activate it. But how do I do that?
It should be intuitive, Midnight said. Don't worry too much. If it doesn't work the first time, at least we'll learn something.
Trixie nodded. I will give it a try. Anything to stop the Guardian and the nightmares from affecting more lives.
Midnight smiled. Yes, anything.
What do I need to do?
Just touch it with your horn, Midnight said. I'll detect a spell and keep it active while you're in there.
Shelmer nodded. Let's get started then.
Midnight's smile was wide. His eyes shone with barely controlled excitement. Yes.
Let's. Bonbon looked toward the distance. She could barely see a small cluster of lights where Ponyville was. The view from the edge of the waterfall was one of the most beautiful landmarks in Equestria. It inspired songs and poems. Lovers often came here to feel the romantic energy that appeared to radiate from the flowers. This was the first place Lyra had brought her here, once he had convinced her to come to Canterlot. It was the first of many visits. She had played for her here, pouring her heart out for her, letting her know without a doubt that she loved her above anything or anything else. Bonbon had kissed Lyra for what seemed like an eternity, with the sunset casting their shadows intertwined, like the lovers who were going the distance. It had been the best day of her life. But now, as she went down to the edge, following the waterfall reached its destination far below, her eyes gazed on the ragged rocks where the water crashed. She should have known the end of the beautiful waterfall was the relationship. She would bring out of the rocks and boulders where it would crash, splinter, and break. Lyra would die in a matter of hours, and it was her fault. Did she have the strength to go and watch? Did she want to torture herself like that? Oh, Lyra, she whispered, I love you. I'm sorry. Her eyes were settled back on Ponyville. We won't go back there ever again, she said. We won't see our friends, our house. She choked. It's all my fault. Her head felt light, and a small breeze caught some of her to her. Perhaps it was best. This world's too harsh for somebody with your kind heart. She looked up at the eclipse, regretting that the light was not enough to create the rainbows that would normally embellish the waterfalls. I'm sorry it was me that cut your life short. She gazed at the scenery in silence. I will wait for you, and hope you still loved me. She closed her eyes and stepped forward. The shadow of wind and winter made around her head. The sounds of the waterfall became nothing but white noise as it missed with the wind rushing by. I hope you'll still love me when we meet again. You son of a sick son of a gun! You killed my bonbon! You freaking dog! I ought to rip your heart out with a spoon. Excuse me. I'm going to take the day off to cry